In this video, I wanted to go over alternate interior angles theorem and all the other relationships for parallel lines. So when we have two parallel lines, they would usually be shown like this, and then we would have a transversal. So any line or transversal can be anywhere going through both of these lines. So a transversal is just a line that goes through two other lines. So we'll talk about if they're not parallel next, but usually we care that they are parallel. So I like to picture these as like two quads, two separate sets of four angles. And if we can see here, these two are in that same part of the quad. So this is in that upper right-hand corner. This is in the upper right-hand corner. So corresponding, they are in the same position. So corresponding is in the same position, and corresponding is congruent. We also have alternate interior. So alternate interior, the first word relates to the transversal. What side of the transversal am I on? Alternate sides. So alternate interior. Then the second word relates to the two lines. So interior means I am on the inside or in between the two lines that I care about. So those two would be alternate interior angles, and those are congruent. The other option is we could have alternate exterior. So alternate, again, describes where we are on the transversal. So if I am alternate sides of the transversal and exterior, the second word applies to how it relates to the two lines. So exterior would be I am on the outside of the two lines that I care about. So alternate is I'm on alternate sides, opposite sides of the transversal, and exterior is I'm on the outside of the two lines that I care about. So that would be alternate exterior, and those are also congruent. So that is all of our congruent ones. Now we talk about, and I'll add the top one that we talked about was corresponding. Corresponding. So all of these are congruent. Alternate interior, alternate exterior, and corresponding. Now I'm going to change colors here, and anytime I am talking about same side, again, the first set or the first words, same side, talk about where I am on the transversal. So on the transversal, I'm on the same side of the transversal. Same side interior applies to the two lines. So I'm in between or on the inside of the two lines that I care about. Same side, I always say it's similar to side, side, side. You may have not gotten there in geometry just yet, but this three S's often go together. So same side is always supplementary, supplementary. And if you remember, supplementary equals 180. So in the same way, a linear pair, we call this a linear pair. Any two angles that make a line together add up to 180 because that forms a line, and a line is 180 degrees. So same side interior, those are add up to 180 because those are supplementary. We could also say same side exterior, same side exterior. So same side, again, the first set describes what side of the transversal we're on, and then the second word, or last word in this case, describes where we are in relation to the two lines. So we are on the outside or exterior of those two lines. So these two would be supplementary because they are on the same side. So same side exterior are also supplementary. Now there's a couple other in this set that are often not talked about, but when we're doing proofs, they will always pop up. So vertical angles we've already learned are congruent. So in this case, these would all be vertical angles, all these green ones. And we can see here that makes sense because we just said alternate interior. So, right, that makes sense. We also said alternate exterior because all of those are vertical angles. So alternate exterior, alternate interior, those are all congruent. Then the other part is these linear pairs. So they will often sneak up. So these two form a line, so they add up to 180. We could also say these two form a line, so they add up to 180 because they form a linear pair. And that makes sense because we just said that this guy is congruent to this guy. So we'll call this 1 and this 2. If 1 is congruent to 2 and 1 is supplementary or forms a linear pair with 3, then that makes sense that 2 and 3, because 1 and 2 equaled each other, right? So whatever is supplementary to the same or congruent angles is supplementary to each other. So if 1 and 3 are supplementary and 1 and 2 equal each other, then 2 and 3 are also supplementary. And that proves same side interior are supplementary. And that goes on this other side too. So these two would be supplementary. Let's see here. So the reds would equal each other, right? These are alternate interior. So again, if this were angle 4 and angle 2 also form a line together, so they are supplementary. And that makes sense because again, 4 and 3 are equal to each other, and we already said 2 and 3 are supplementary, so 2 and 4 must be supplementary. So we can go all the way around, right? All of these are in relation to each other. So the red ones are equal to each other, and the red and green together are supplementary. So all of the green, so green and red relationship, right? These are supplementary because they're same side interior. Oh. And then this green one, this would be the final green one here. So all the green ones are congruent and all the red ones are congruent to each other, but red and green are supplementary to each other, red and green. So the same side exterior, right? Those are also supplementary. Same side exterior and same side interior are supplementary. So that makes sense there. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments below. That was corresponding alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, and same side exterior angles for parallel lines. Now I said before that we were only going to do parallel lines, or that I was going to show you if it's not parallel lines. So let's talk about if they are not parallel lines. So we could have one line here and another line here. This always looks strange because then we could also have a transversal. Now we would still consider these angles corresponding because they are in the same position. We could also consider these alternate exterior because the first word relates to the transversal, the second word relates to the two lines. So even if these lines are not parallel, we could still relate these angles to each other. The only difference is if they are not parallel, they are not congruent, and they are not supplementary. So we would still call this alternate interior, but they are no longer, or alternate exterior, but they are not congruent because these are not parallel lines. So we could also say these two are same side interior, but they are not supplementary because these two lines are not parallel. So even if you're given a weird set of lines, right? If we have these two lines and maybe a transversal going this way, we could still relate, right? These would be alternate exterior, excuse me. These would be alternate interior, right? The green would be same side. These would be same side interior, and these would be same side exterior. So again, we can call them that, corresponding alternate interior, all of that. It's just they would not be congruent or supplementary if the two lines are not parallel. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions.